Welcome to the group chat with Tara Thomas and Amanda Goodman of Faith and Four-Letter Words.
Happy Friday. We're happy to make it to Friday.
We are hanging on by a thread. Good morning. Good Friday morning. I'm Amanda Goodman.
And I'm Tara Thomas. And we are so thrilled that yesterday it broke 50, I think.
This is my face right now. Like, I walked into the studio today. I think it's only 26 degrees outside, but there's excitement in the air because it's supposed to get to near 50. And I'm telling you, and this is my advice for you on this Friday. When you get in your car this morning, pull up your Spotify or your Apple Music, wherever you get your music, and turn on some Little Red Corvette by Prince.
Oh, that's a classic.
You're like, didn't we just say the other day when we're just happier when it's going to be warmer?
Yeah.
How happy we are.
It's insane how much the weather impacts your mood. And think of the days when it's dreary and cold and you just more easily snap at your husband when it's warmer out. I feel like we're nicer. We're kinder and gentler.
It depends which way you come at me. And I have to let my girl Patrice know. Patrice, if you're watching, I'm sorry I let you down a couple evenings ago. I visited my dear friend Liz over at Splendora Medical Spa because it had been 2 years and I had my lips touched up. Because here's the thing, Sicilian, I had big lips. My lips went away. I got really skinny lips, like thin lips. I'm too big. Like I have too many big features. I have a big nose. I have to have the lips to match the nose. So they are a little, I'm aware. They're like
pillowy.
That's a nice way to. Yes, we're pillowy today. We're a little swollen in black and blue. So Lucci looks at me. She's like, "Are they swollen?" And I said, "Yeah." And she goes, "Okay, they look good. They look good." I'm like, "Thanks." So that's my litmus test.
Scoot closer to me.
Am I?
Because I feel like we're off-centered. There we go.
Oh,
okay. I just want to, when we were doing the news, there was this whole thing about your headroom. And so I'm like, I always have an eye. And when I watched Wednesday's episode, I thought that we were like a little too
because we got to
one side.
Oh, I see.
So I'm trying to center us. We don't have a camera operator adjusting the camera. We adjust our bodies to center ourselves.
I did want to start off with some breaking news.
Yes.
I was reading when I came in, and they're saying that there is a doctor who was in the post-mortem autopsy of Jeffrey Epstein. It was 6-7 years ago, and that he is saying he did not hang himself. He was strangled. So that is the news. That is a huge bombshell. I think that's something that we all speculated. I had a T-shirt that I bought at a brewery in Mackinac Island several years ago, and it said Epstein did not kill himself, and because they had a beer named after it, and it's something that we all firmly believed. Not we all. I'm saying when I say we all, I said my family. We believe. So that is the news that's coming down right now. That post-autopsy doctor is saying that Jeffrey Epstein was strangled, allegedly, in this report. Also, another report, Kurt Cobain, the lead singer for Nirvana, they're saying he did not commit suicide. They're saying it was a homicide. So we're having all of these cold cases.
Well, that's got to be troubling for Courtney Love. And then what do they call the daughter, Bean?
Yes, but I'm wondering if Courtney Love is going to be the one who is accused. So that's some breaking news for anybody in Gen X, because Nirvana, from Seattle, changed the game, changed the music landscape when they came out with
they were the headliners of grunge per se, and anybody who's ever been in a college bar, Smells Like Teen Spirit. Sure. That was like a very iconic song. During Gen X's college days.
That is when the flannels.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, big
and
time.
then the hip hop girls took it a step further. We were wearing the flannel, but we were wearing them around a waist with the belly shirts. We had the flannel on, but it was the belly shirt underneath of the overalls.
Yeah, we definitely had the belly shirts. If you saw this week on Faith and Four-Letter Words, I shared a throwback to my 20s, and I had quite a belly shirt.
I'm very jealous of you because you do have a long torso.
Well,
and that's like that.
It can be good and bad. Those of you who have the long torso will relate to this, because when it comes to any and all shirts now, when you don't want your belly showing, they're never long enough. And then if you get one that's long enough, it's too wide.
Oh,
everything becomes like boxy. So
did you have a belly button ring? Did you?
No.
Oh,
I'm not a pierce tattoo person at all. I only have one hole, my single ear piercing. Now my daughter, she's definitely into the piercing. So she has, I think, like 4 maybe up her ear. And so, yeah, so I'm not opposed to it. It's just not for me.
Yeah, I did the belly button ring.
So did my sister, and it got infected.
Oh, it did.
It did.
Well, because a lot of people were, I mean, like we were piercing people in like garages. I mean, you know what I mean? Like we were not sanitary, our generation. It was a very odd. So I wanted to know, and people can drop it in the group chat, because I would like to know your, like what age. So my daughter, like Aria has double pierced, and she's only 8.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like so I was like, that's pushing it. So now she's like, hey mom, when can I get my 3rd? And I said to her, I'm like, you're going to be all holes before, like, but then again, I realized that I cannot, I mean, this is a woman who, I mean, I have many tattoos. I mean, I only
Many
have
piercings.
I don't
still have a
I only
belly
have,
button
I don't have
ring.
still have a belly button ring. No, you wouldn't be able to see it if I had my belly, you know? So I just didn't know if there was like an age when there's like multiple ears, if it's too much.
I think like everything, we've caved and we let our girls do things younger. My niece, she wanted to get her ears pierced, and I think my sister waited, like I did with Charlotte, until maybe 3rd or 4th grade.
Oh, I see.
You know,
See,
that's probably, which would be the same age as Aria.
well, my daughters all had their ears pierced before they even left the hospital.
Oh, okay. That's not rare though.
No,
Some
because they
people do
can't
that,
feel it.
yeah.
So my mother-in-law is a doctor, and so she would just take, you know, a needle and just pierce their ears because they couldn't feel it, and then that was it. And I'm sorry, but like, there is nothing cuter than when you see a little baby with like little tiny little studs, right? But like Aria loves to wear like hoops. She's gonna fight somebody because she likes to wear like big hoops. I was like, those are too big
That
for you
is
right now.
funny. That's cute.
And so I had her, you know, there's a saying that we had back in the day. I can't say it on television, but bigger the hoops. You know, there was a saying, if
Urban
you know
slang.
it, especially if you're from the East Coast, you know how that sentence finishes. But it's
I love a big hoop, especially I've stopped.
You would look really good with big hoops.
I wear hoops all the time. I did, but I've stopped wearing really any earrings except just like these permanent small studs because my hair is it's always covering my ears.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's like kind of silly to wear earrings because no one can really see them.
Did you have like the nameplate ears?
I did not, but I'm a fan of those. That's definitely an East Coast influence thing. If you guys remember the nameplate necklaces, like Carrie Bradshaw in Sex and the City, they also, when we were younger, had their name like in the hoop. I don't really think that was too much of a Midwest thing. That was definitely more East Coast. And then I saw it a lot when I was in college in Boston.
Oh, for sure. And I'm going to tell you something right now. If you ever visit the East Coast and you come across a woman of any age that is wearing a nameplate, specifically names across some big hoops, be kind to that person because
they're probably not averse to fisticuffs.
Do not look at them sideways. Okay, that's how you know. That's like kind of like like the Batman signal. Like, don't do it.
So I'm wearing red because, of course, tomorrow is Valentine's Day. So I love Valentine's Day, and Amanda does not, and that's fine.
That's fine.
We all have our preferences. So I
respect that you love it because it's also
and I always enjoyed the holiday growing up. Despite I agree, like how I guess passive aggressive those handing out those candy grams became because it was like a student council fundraiser, and the pink was friend and the red was love. And then we even did that I went to a school that was 4th grade through 8th grade. And so it was like a grade school. And we did that from 4th through 8th grade. And so those are the real tumultuous years where everything is, you know, raw and you're very insecure. So I remember how excited I was if I got a red one or got a pink one. And then, you know, when you're older, you forget and you reflect on your years where you think it was so sad for the kids who didn't get any, but then we were so innocent or immature. I mean, we didn't even really notice it then. Right. Whereas today there'd be kids like doing TikToks, showing off all their, you know, we didn't have a way to really promote it because you just got it quietly delivered to your desk.
You promoted it the same way you used to promote your outfit. Like obviously in grade school we didn't have outfits. We just would roll up our uniform skirt, but it was like you would take those carnations
in public school.
You would take those carnations up to the pencil sharpener, and so you would show everybody how many carnations that you had. And
because
so
we've talked about that pencil sharpener trip. That's your runway. It's your runway.
But in high school, it was horrible because they would come to the people like the the teachers' pets would come to the front of the classroom
and hand him out.
and they would read off everybody's name, and then you're sitting there, and it was like,
that's true.
and then it was everybody looking
humiliating.
at you. It was humiliating. And
and it's sad because now, even though some of the things that have been killed because they're not PC were a shame, that is one where it's hurtful. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
it
like,
can be hurtful.
Well, it can be hurtful. I mean, I was never that girl in high school. Like, I was not. Like, I was
you
always.
Said you had your glow up in college.
I had it
after college.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So I was like a guy's girl. Like, everybody called me by my last name.
Goodman.
I mean, like, what's up? I mean, like, and I was fine with it.
You want a good man, Goodman? I'm sure
what
you
a
heard
man.
that if you
Oh, of course. But it didn't bother me. I liked being like one of the guys in high school and college. People didn't look at me like that, but then it was,
Well, and the other thing about Valentine's Day that my husband and I have talked about over the years, it's true that it is a racket when it comes to the commercialization of the one day of the year when the dozen roses are, 10 times the price of any other day. So that kind of like consumption and consumerism is definitely alive and well. And for you and me both, I mean, we're not the kind of people who feel like our husbands let us down if they don't do all the prescribed things,
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I think we should qualify that, because it's not like we're putting all these unrealistic pressures and expectations on people, because there's a huge pressure on guys, I think, differently from girls on Valentine's Day.
For sure.
Because there's like this. So Charlotte, my daughter, this is hilarious. She told me that there's this thing now where, like, you're supposed to say to somebody like, you're my Valentine, or be more open about acknowledging your Valentine. And so she was like way more into the formality of it, which then I realized, which I was surprised for that age
for
group.
the age group. You would think that they would
but they're very like
romantic.
Almost like, they're like reviving old traditions in that age group now.
Well, that's because they also get promposals, you know what I mean?
Oh
And they
my
get
gosh, it's so elaborate.
It is elaborate. I think it's adorable, like if they want to, but like I was asked to prom over some Ilio's pizza in high.
I was standing by my like locker when someone was like, "You want to go to Vice Versa?" And this was like a friend, and I was like, "Sure."
That's exactly how it was. Yeah. I think it puts. I just want all the young people of today, or any woman out there right now or is so upset about not being Valentine's, or if their husband or boyfriend or partner doesn't get them something for Valentine's Day, just ask yourself this: how do they treat you on a Tuesday?
Yeah,
right, like on a Tuesday. So I am not mushy. My husband.
Tuesday.
It was very hard for my husband to get used to that, because he's Latino, so they're very affectionate and they're very.
So you're like causing him to have to stifle his natural inclination.
Well, because he had said to my dad the one time, he said, "Don't take this the wrong way, but Amanda's like cold." And my dad said, "She's like my mother. Like, she's like my mother." Grandma Grace from Palermo, Sicily, right? So
if you came from Palermo, you probably are one tough cookie.
You are tough. You're doing this. But so for me, though, it is, the Diet Coke that's in the fridge waiting for me, the cold Diet, the cold Diet Coke,
the small gestures,
the small, like when I get up,
I love that.
When I get up early in the morning to come to, do the morning show, the group chat. So sorry. Coming home at night, my bed is made. I only like I have to get into a made bed, right? So there's little things like, so if you buy me overpriced chocolates or flowers, well, now I'm going to criticize you for being dumb, for mismanaging the money. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not, I don't like flowers anyway.
So that's true. I knew that you didn't like flowers. So my husband always when he was a high school teacher for years, he would always tell the guys as you were approaching a big holiday like Valentine's Day or Christmas, he would say, "No, I hope, you really like this person, because if you don't, now is the time to end the relationship."
End it before. But I did see a meme the other day.
Buy all the gifts. Well, and strike that. A lot of parents end up buying gifts.
Oh, me too.
I mean, it's so crazy.
Don't even get me started on that. My daughter was like, "Hey," she sent me a screenshot of a $192 bottle of Valentino perfume. And I was like, I don't even wear $192 perfume, but it doesn't cost so listen, I did get an email the other day. It was a message on Facebook. Actually, it was a message from a woman, and she was laughing, and thank goodness she was laughing. She's like, You wrote something about Valentine's a long time ago, and my husband said Amanda Goodman doesn't like Valentine's Day.
Oh my gosh.
No.
Let's not use that as an excuse.
Do not use me as your litmus test. I am not a good example. Listen, go to Five Below. There's like a meme circulating. Go to Five Below. Even go to Target. Just go somewhere. They have a little basket. Just put a bunch of like favorite candy. If she likes
Sure.
Nolani, if she likes Starbucks,
Yeah,
a
I mean,
$5 gift card.
Hopefully it's
Keep it simple.
the gesture, not the you know, the
And
value of the item, right? So
As my-
Katie Webb said, I'm with you, Amanda. The small things matter more than the flowers and candy.
It's the small stuff. And like for me, and this is horrible, please, I don't want to offend anybody, but it's kind of like the carnations. Like my grandmother taught me, she was like, don't ever let anybody give you a carnation. And I said, why? And she's like, it's a funeral flower. So now every time I see a carnation, I'm like,
I love it.
it's the cheap funeral
A
flower.
funeral flower. That's yeah. You know, it's so I forgot the carnation thing when you brought that up. It was like the flashback to elementary and middle school, because that's true. We did the construction paper hearts
Oh, yes.
that were stapled together with like a little chocolate inside, or the carnations, and you could do. I think you could do either or, and different.
the combo.
Yeah,
If you
yeah.
paid 25 cents for
If you
one.
got the heart and the carnation, they really liked you, you know. And then the cheesy part of, if you got the red heart, that was supposed to be love. So then you were like, whose handwriting is this?
Oh,
Who
yeah.
gave me this?
They
And then it's
analyze.
like the
Analyzing all
exactly all of the, and then you think that you're special because you got some red heart, and then you find out this same kid gave like 5 girls
Yeah.
the red heart
playa.
because he was
The playa.
just covering his bases, hoping that one would cave and like go with
It
him.
is true. I
Did
just
you
don't.
say go with? We said go with.
Well, we
Like,
said
will
go
you go
with.
with me?
Yeah, and then did your parents like, where are you going? Like my parents
Oh,
were
yes.
like, we're going. Well, now it's funny because I remember when my daughter and her boyfriend, they've been together for a while now, started, you know, they were talking. I'm like, oh, you're going out. She goes,
I was just gonna say that.
no, we're
it's
talking. And then they're talking. And I'm like, okay. And then like,
Then
and
it
then they're seeing each
escalates.
other. And then they're like, and I'm like, what? Like there's
I
so
know,
many
isn't it? It's
layers
so weird.
of
And
it.
if I say to my son something like, oh, is so and so going out with or dating or whatever, and he'll be like, no, you know,
Oh.
because it's like offensive.
We don't know the whole.
If you mislabel these kids' relationships, the one thing that is sad, and I don't know if you've picked up on this, and I've seen quite a bit of, it's a gentleman, and unfortunately I don't know his name. I think he's a psychologist or a researcher, and his whole sort of social media shtick, and he's been interviewed widely to talk about this, is we have created a generation of young people, especially boys, that are not interested in serious committed relationships. Therefore, they will be less likely to get married and procreate. And so the point is, they're saying there is a biological impact on our country and on our, you know, existence if you don't raise children to be of the mindset that they want to someday have families and children.
Oh,
and
that's
so I
interesting.
thought that was so interesting because, and what made me think of this is, you know, when I think of my son and his friends, I will say, and granted, they all at various times have liked girls. Some of them, you know, had relationships, but I will say that they don't seem to be obsessed with girls so much so that they abandoned their male friendships.
That's good.
And I think that's sometimes the difference between guys and girls. I think girls tend to go all in on relationships. And one of my friends in high school was notorious for, when she was between boyfriends, we would always hang out. Then when she got another
Ew.
boyfriend, it was like, I never saw her.
Yeah, that's gross.
And I
don't
used
like
to
that.
think, that's sad, right?
I
Because
want-
you're going to be married potentially, and then you'll always be with that guy.
You have to wonder though if boys are stepping away from relationships because the expectations young women are putting on them, girls are putting on them. You know, it's kind of like the promposals and the asking out for homecoming, and then the pictures and the social media adds a whole nother layer. Now here I will say, you know, in the Italian culture, it's funny being men will marry a bit much later because they're close to their mommies, right? They don't want to leave their mom. And when
Exhibit A, Nico.
Nico,
And I'm guilty too.
I lay my
My
son's
son
clothes
is
still
the
out, but
same.
it's very much when we were in Italy, for example, we went to Rome and we were getting this evening golf cart tour of the city.
That's so cool.
And when we went into the place, it was run by a bunch of Italian men, and they were all in their 40s, and they were all talking to us They all live at home with their mom. They haven't found the right woman because what they're doing in that culture, they're comparing everybody to their mom. And the women can
and we are held to high standards. We hope. We hope our sons hold. So what do you think about that? If you were playing this out, would you be okay with Nico living with you?
Yes. I would be completely honest to God. If all of my children were like, can I just stay here? Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, if Nico wanted to say, because it is very funny. Like it's weird. And I remember my mom, because I have one brother, a brother and a sister. And my mom, she would say, you'll understand. Because my mom says, a daughter is a daughter for life. A son's a son until he gets a wife. And when she said, I'm angry. Like I'm going to cry thinking about that. Like, I don't know how I will do. I don't know how I will do later in life when my son finds the woman that he wants to marry. And if she doesn't like me, like if it's a Beckham situation.
Oh, I know. You see these horror stories playing out, and it's like the monster-in-law concept where we would become, the enemy, and then the son is caught in the middle between the wife and the mother-in-law.
Can you imagine? Like,
and it just makes you sick to think about. And so I'm with you, and I think we as parents also understand uniquely that when it comes to girls, as weird as this sounds, it's almost like the girls, especially by the time they're, into their high school, college years, we just have a maturity that makes it easier to cushion the blow of sort of failed relationships. Whereas I think the immaturity of boys means that it's harder for them to navigate all the feelings that come with, more mature relationships.
Yes.
Is that fair to say?
It is.
So I think we're so protective of our sons for that reason, because we feel like our worst nightmare is a girl like breaking their heart, humiliating them. And, and I know of a situation, one of my good friends, her son, he was really, in love with, or very well, connected, if you will, like in a relationship with a girl. And then she ended up cheating on him. And the mom has told me that months later, like many, much time passed later, that he would still sometimes bring that up because it really hurt him. And so it just like breaks her heart, because she feels like he was vulnerable. He opened himself up and he got hurt, and he was so young when it happened, that you just feel like, I hope they're not jaded on future relationships, because you never forget when you were hurt like that.
And how, as a mom, do you not want to,
drive over there?
Like I am not the mom.
We already heard your story that when Nico was in like 4th or 5th grade, you were like staring out of the blinds.
Yeah, I am very much like, I would not be the mom. Like, let's stay up and talk about it.
You're like that emoji on the iPhone, where you're the Bitmoji, where you're peering out.
I would be very much like, let's get in the car. Let's go for a ride.
Well, we're both intimidating, I think, in that we're very strong women. And when I say strong, definitely not physically strong, like very much assertive people. And so if our kids bring, other friends, which they do around, they know how we roll. I mean, we're very like in your face.
Well, it's also like this. It's like you see those. I share them all the time on Instagram because they're hilarious. And it'll be like, they'll be playing Straight Outta Compton or something by NWA. Like, if your mama knows all the lyrics of this song, don't mess with her. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we so roll true. In. Like,
so my son, this is fun for me as a mom, and growing up, I always had the fun house, and that was because my parents, I've talked about this. My dad was famous for the bar in the basement that he and my mom built by hand. It was like made with bricks, and it was this huge thick countertop bar that they literally put in themselves with friends when they moved into the house. This was before they had me. And behind the bar, my dad had a row of at least 10 jars of big, all different sized glass jars, and they were always full of candy. And so that was nice. Just like the thing. Like, if you came to my house, you came downstairs and you were going to like stuff your face, especially the kids who didn't have free access to candy. They were just, I would have been like you said about the sugar cereal at your neighbors.
Rice checks.
So interestingly, as as generations repeat. So now, ever since like, gosh, I want to say it's been like 5 straight weekends. My son, who lives now in the basement, has his bachelor pad in the basement. He's had friends spend the night every weekend for like 5. And I love that. I love that I'm the house where the kids want to stay. And my husband and I were really intentional when we bought this house in 2014. My friend, Chris Carter, our realtor, he said, wow, this would make a great space for a Super Bowl party. And then we've had like years of parties, and we're not huge with entertaining, but we do pretty regularly have people. So then when my son wants to have friends over, it's great because they have the space. And so what I love about that is just feeling like the kids know that they're always welcome here.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also just love that he's in that stage of his life where his bros are so important that they want to like hang out, you know, and do the sleepovers that years ago used to be kind of traditionally stereotyped as a girl thing.
Right.
But guys are really into that now, or young kids. Are
Yeah,
really
they
into
probably
that.
don't call it a sleepover. Though.
No. Oh gosh, no. If I said, "Are you having a sleepover?" I mean,
Thomas would like. I want you to
his
say it though
face.
because I want to see his facial expression because Thomas is
because
very.
our sons are very sarcastic. Okay,
Oh.
like, and just very snarky, and can give us a look of like, you're cringe, you're weird.
Thomas
you know?
stays like unbothered though.
He
Thomas
does,
has
he
like
does.
he's an old
He's-
soul and
he's
he's just
the-
very unbothered by what like just
yes,
makes me laugh.
and that crushes my husband's spirit when my husband is like Hector, like passionate to the point where it crosses into like crazy, you know, at times, like with sports and all. So he wants Thomas to have that, you know, sense of urgency, and Thomas is very chill nature.
Yeah.
Clashes with him sometimes.
Well, I
like, if you don't pick up those clothes right now, you know.
I call like Hector, I call him Big Nico and I call Nico Little Hector because
Oh, I love it.
they will argue. They're the same. They have the same personality, the same, like if you look at that, I mean, the same. And so
Isn't
it's
it crazy how you create these
Oh my gosh.
clones of your
And
spouse?
and I look and I'll say to Hector, I'm like, you're angry at him for doing that. It's you. Like, it's just, it's kind of like Lucci is very much me.
They know how to push each other's buttons.
So Lucci, we call Lucci is lazy. Lucci's lazy, right? So, but she also does something that I do. Like, she'll be laying in bed. She was laying in bed the other night with me, and she was like, "Hey, Dad, since you're out there, can you bring me?"
That's what I do.
Oh, I do it all
I'm
the
so
time.
bad.
And so Hector's like, "You're just like your mother," and I'm like, first of all, I'm not her level of lazy. Like, I'm not her level of lazy, but I am. Like, because I get in my bed, and I always wear my heating pad at night because it just, you know,
Oh
because
yeah,
I'm always
that
going
which
through.
makes sense with the
I'm
ulcerative colitis.
Yes, I'm like, I'm in. I'm strapped. It's like a sleep out. Like, I'm in. Once I'm cozy, like, just come to me, people. Like, and I do enough. I deserve that moment where people can, you know, wait on me a little bit. Like, get me a glass of
That's
water.
what Dave says, that I wait until someone gets up, meaning him, to ask him to get me. Can you bring that? He's like, so you weren't going to get that until I got up?
Right.
Well, yeah, I'm willing to sit here until you get up. It's so bad. I am so bad.
I know.
I
I
am.
do the
I'm
same
definitely lazy too compared to Dave.
But
I would
it's
say
not.
I'm
It's like,
lazy.
I don't know. Like,
I don't.
that
I
word
don't
is such
really
a negative-
apologize for it.
No,
like,
it's such
because we feel like, and this is true, like we've like earned
Yes.
that like moment to just sit and veg out and like scroll our phones, or in our case, like watch mindless television.
Oh my gosh! Speaking of mindless television, let's talk about it. Have you watched The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills yet? Have
The
you watched
latest
it?
episode, no, but I can't wait because I'm all in.
Okay, you again.
For some reason, I'm all in on Beverly Hills. I can't with some of the other. I've abandoned Salt Lake. I've abandoned
Salt Lake's
Atlanta,
good.
and I also even abandoned like what's the Teresa series? Is it
Jersey.
Jersey? I
that
can't,
That one.
because it become for this. This is going to sound crazy. Some of the women become so unrelatable
Yes.
that I feel like everything is prescriptive and fake.
Once they
Whereas
become
with
famous.
Beverly Hills, I can relate to that,
Yeah.
which is so crazy to say, but Bose
Oh,
has quite an incredible
So she's
career,
so
and we can
intelligent.
relate to her because so much of what she says, I think, is like that rational reality check take, and
She-
we need more of that in our lives.
and she does something like when people are telling stories.
her facial expressions.
Her facial
are
expressions.
hilarious.
Well, she does something like because Lucci does this. Like Lucci's the MVP in my house right now, but Bose does something that Lucci does. When someone's telling a story and it's like shocking, she goes, "Oh," and that's what Lucci does. Lucci goes, "Oh," like just.
Oh my gosh!
So it's
That
very
is-
funny.
That is hilarious.
But
That she does that.
The Real Housewives, the characters on these shows, once they become famous, right? So then once they're being pictured in Page Six and all this stuff, then they become. It's like, I don't like you anymore.
Well, and a great example of how it's hard to cross the line from reality to scripted television is in the latest season of Lincoln Lawyer.
Ugh.
Kyle Richards, who's one of the, shining stars at Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, she plays a woman seeking legal counsel because her husband cheated on her and she wants a divorce. I couldn't even listen to the dialogue because I was watching her going, now, is she acting or is she reality? You know what I mean?
yeah, she really talking about her real life marriage.
It's weird. No, but
if-
it's weird because it's like you can't even see her. You can't even take her
But if
seriously
her-
as an actress.
But she'll tell you, like, she was an actress.
She
before.
was in Halloween with
She
Jamie Lee
was
Curtis.
yes, when you were like 5, Kyle. But I will
She
just
was
tell you.
also her sister Kim did a lot more of the Disney movies. She was in the
Oh, yeah.
Disney movie that all of you Gen Xers who are on my side of the age spectrum will remember. Witch Mountain.
Yes.
What
I
was
never
that
watched
show where they had the house
I gotta
where
look
they
it up.
had? It's so good.
I didn't
It's-
watch any of that.
oh my
stuff.
gosh, it's
Anything
like-
with like
It's Kim
Farmland.
Richards. She started, and I know you guys have seen this because you'll never forget. She had that house. She lived in the mansion, and she had all the toys. So it was like the real life Richie Rich. What is that?
the internet is not working here.
Okay,
I
I got
it's,
look it up.
it's on my thing. It's not working. Not
Yeah,
yours.
let me. I was like, I
Witch
hope
Mountain.
It is. Thank you.
Escape to Witch Mountain.
Escape to Witch Mountain.
Escape to Witch Mountain.
I know you guys
So
saw
no.
that show. So that's what kind of messed her up because she was a child actor,
A child
and you hate to
actress.
say it, but what sort of became of some of her adult struggles was probably born out of, like so many child actors, just how that's not a normal childhood.
Yeah. Well, the Housewife, the Beverly Hills episode again. Rachel Zoe, MVP.
I can't wait.
Amanda.
Now that you told me this, Amanda is the worst.
Yeah, not me. I mean, I can be the worst, but this woman, she is very much.
She is.
There's no accountability. So I do not like people. Listen, we all say things that are mean, hurtful. I mean, we do. Like, we're human, right? I cannot stand people who hurt or say something and then it wasn't me. It wasn't me. And so
okay. And also, if you watched a previous episode, you'll remember this. So she's famous for anything that you say that she doesn't like or finds offensive, then you've come at her in an aggressive
and that's my
attack
experience.
mode or whatever.
That's my
And
experience.
so I
Ugh.
swear part of it is because she's younger. So she's
Yes.
in that generation where everything that everyone says to you that you either don't agree with, don't like, or find offensive, you don't have to then jump to that you were like verbally assaulted and make it into something where now you have to put up this boundary where you're never going to speak to the person. I'm so tired of that because we've talked about this. I just don't agree with, even though, yes, there are people that are too much or that you no longer want
Sure.
to be close with, but you can't just cut everyone off. I mean,
Mhm.
we're not going to just say, I'm not going to cut everybody off at work. I'm not going to cut all of my family off. I'm not going to cut. So unless it's like extreme situations where there's abuse and other things, I hate that people almost turn it into this boy who cried wolf thing.
Oh, well,
Because it's taking away from the genuine narcissistic and abusive relationships that people are in, because then you're saying, oh, well, I too was abused. If someone said something to you that
That you didn't
offended
like.
you weren't, that's completely different than like, some level of domestic abuse.
I just can't. It's very much, and if this offends you, I'm really, really sorry, but I have to be honest. There is no such thing as my truth. There is the truth. You can like,
Well, yeah,
and when people-
we're famous for, we have been a part of managerial circumstances where whatever you say, there's always well, that's Amanda's
that's
viewpoint or
That's Amanda's truth.
opinion.
No,
Yeah,
there's the truth.
like you somehow are doctoring facts.
No, and then those, it's so this character on this show is very like, Well, I'm just
That's
telling
funny
you.
say character because they're supposed to be
That-
their real.
No, she's
person.
a character. No, and that was just my experience, and it's just
Oh yeah,
that just justifies.
anything.
That
you can
just-
say that about
You
everything.
can say
then.
that's
Yeah.
you can twist anything into a lie and then just throw the
That's
words
right.
on. Well, that's my experience. That's my truth. No, that's not. Like
And
that's
what
not what
she
happened.
does-
And especially when there are other people who were there and witnessing it. So then you're trying to
Well,
twist
that's
it.
why I like Bose,
And
because
you're
she called her out.
trying to gaslight people. So it's if you
You're
haven't
right.
watched Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, tune it in and just do. We want to know by Monday. That's your homework for the weekend. Let us know on Monday what
What do you
character
think?
do you align with? Like, give me Rachel Zoe all day.
Yeah,
Or
well,
Bose
and I wasn't a
all
huge
day.
fan, and now after hearing your perspective and watching, I like where her character is going, definitely. But I will say, and some of you can relate to this, whenever you're at like TJ Maxx or one of these stores where they have the Jessica Simpson,
Oh.
the Rachel Zoe, the Khloe Kardashian, clothes that make their way to the racks of these stores, I just kind of pause and then I think, do I really want to support, Jessica Simpson? I mean, even though I will
Do
say,
they need any more money?
yeah, I will say this, her book, her
Oh, yes.
autobiographical
You've spoken
book
about
is
that.
excellent
Yeah.
because this was prior to recent developments where she's estranged from her husband. I think they're getting a divorce, but back when she wrote that book, she was real and raw in a way that was totally unexpected. And I found it fascinating because she explained how when she was with Nick Lachey, the media, which if you watch their reality show, of course, you've seen the chicken of the sea joke, the tuna fish joke, she became laughable.
Mhm.
I mean, in a sense,
They
because
dumbed
she
her
was
down.
she was made to be the dumb blonde. And when you read the book, what you realize is it was almost like she was sort of pushing back against that. But then Nick Lachey, in some ways, took the bait and let the media play that out to serve his own, to sort of sacrifice his reputation, if that makes sense. So I had a new appreciation for her
yes.
because I thought that it was all her like being rude and mean to Nick.
No, I think it was made him feel elevated.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
He
That's a
was
great way
using
to
her
put it.
to make
And
her
a lot
feel-
of people do that.
And I think it's, we only see it's whatever benefits
Yes.
everybody. And what I think right now
Snippets.
is going to be interesting is I am not a Swiftie. I'm not a Swiftie. Like my daughters like her music. I think that she's a phenomenal lyricist and all the things. And music is great. I'm not saying this. I'm coming from a fact-based journalist. Pretend you're watching the morning news right now, right? It is very interesting that people are seeing, like we forget because everybody has a polished media image and what they want people to get out there,
True.
right? And so now that you're seeing the real side, so you're reading some text messages between her and Blake Lively, private text messages between two friends.
Yeah, I haven't read all these. So what are they saying in these text
Well,
messages?
I can't say like verbatim, but it's very much like Taylor, like, calling people names, and
Mhm.
you just see a different side of her. And so I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, well, of course you are, because the media persona, the
No
cookie
one's
cutter,
perfect,
the
right.
cookie cutter, there's no cookie cutter person out there ever. So you always wonder, because when I see Taylor go up and for award ceremonies when she's doing an interview, I'm always like, what is she really like? Like, I'm always wondering, like, what is she really, really, really like? Like, and I'm not saying that she's not like that, but I'm like, that is just too on for me. She's just too on all the time. There are certain people that are just so on all the time and then just have
Right.
like,
I know what you mean. And
Yeah.
and we've talked about this. I used to like the Kelsey brothers, but sometimes oversaturation turns to annoyance.
I'm over. Like, listen, and this is, I'm a Philadelphia fan. Like, I'm a PA girl. Like, it's too much. Like Jason Kelsey, he was awesome. He was one of the best centers in NFL, one of the best. He was the heart of Philadelphia. He gave one of the most most passionate Super Bowl victory speeches, dressed up as a mummer. Google that if you don't know what that is. It's phenomenal. But then it was like, now we have him on, he's got to give his opinion. Everyone has He has
every commercial.
he's on a
sports
commentator,
commentator.
and now he's on like the NFL shows, and then it's like the podcast, and then it's like Travis, and it's like, and then like Kylie Kelsey, who she's
cool.
She's a Pennsylvania girl and everything, but it's
of course she has a podcast.
Yeah. It's just
because everybody who's ever been famous immediately becomes successful or thinks they will doing a podcast. You know, so I mean,
it's too much.
But it's weird because it's like that. We talk about this all the time. Just because you're a successful, you know, realtor, or you're a successful surgeon, or you're successful in education, that doesn't mean then you're going to become a podcast / guru / motivational speaker on the same level.
Okay, I'm glad you brought that up because Tara and I didn't get here. Like, you and I didn't start just say we're gonna go out on stage, you know, yesterday, right? You and I didn't say we're just gonna start a podcast. This is gonna be, you know, somebody saw the that we shared a post the other day. This show has like more than like almost 1.5 million views, which is insane. It's insane. We're so thankful.
We appreciate that.
This is like
us just running our mouths.
And I know Chris Carter Hayes would make combine careers, but to combine 40 years in the making. It was 40 years. So the success we see on a stage with a speaking series, here on the group chat, the fact that we were contacted by this genius marketing team in Des Moines, it is because of the 40 years. It's because that she started at $4.65 an hour in Mason City, Iowa. It's because I started at $6.50 an hour in Amarillo, Texas. Right. It's because we were living off of tuna fish, goldfish, and ramen. Like it was, you know, working part-time at Southbridge Mall while, you know, and it was, the lights were cut off because I couldn't afford to pay the apartment, but because we were focused on being journalists and just going through and moving across the country. And, you know, you're there for a couple years. Well, you got to move again.
Yep.
That's right. And I say that, and let me catch my breath now, because it was all of that led to this. And so it's it's like there's a quote, like, you know, you can steal the recipe, but the sauce will never taste the same. And I say that with all due respect. You know, for me, podcasting is very much like broadcasting. It's not everyone can do it. Mm-hmm. Everyone thinks they can because people think that it is easy. That is like me saying, like, leaving here, well, I'm going to go, you know what? I've watched ER. I can scrub it in that surgery.
Yeah, exactly. And that's such a good analogy, because one thing that I will say that we, you know, the hill that we will die on is if you watch us when we're talking or presenting, speaking on the tour, right? Faith and 4-letter words. And then if you run into us at McDonald's, or if you see us at Hy-Vee, you get what you get. We're the same people. So we show up in public life like we do in our personal life, because the line is completely blurred. We're one and the same.
Yes.
So if you think she's, you know, over the top, even though she might have a baseball cap on and be quiet when you run into her at Walmart, like if you start talking to her, we're still going to be the same expressive, very demonstrative, wear our heart on our sleeve kind of people. And so what I think I have a hard time with, and I see this all the time, and you just nailed it with your description of Taylor Swift, the texter, versus Taylor Swift, the award recipient. If there is such a divergence from your personal and your professional existence, people recognize inauthenticity. So I have had this happen so many times where I've seen somebody in person speaking somewhere or engaging, and then I'll say, they're totally different than the person that I just saw on a podcast episode. And that has happened to me. And it's actually disappointing, because you believe that person is sincere in every space and place that they share their voice. Yes. You just trust it. And so so here's a great example. When Amanda and I talk about like her, you know, child advocacy, or if I talk about my faith, where I'm like, you know, sharing a Bible verse, that's because we're dealing with that and weaving that into our everyday life. So she's fielding hundreds of messages a week about individuals struggling for various reasons that have turned to her because they feel like, maybe, you know, call Amanda Goodman, email Amanda Goodman. I mean, you should tell Amanda Goodman. So there's that whole level of like, that's her real life. And then for me, I check YouVersion every day. The first thing I do when I wake up is I read a Bible verse. I talk about the Bible. My daughter and I share different, lessons or feelings we've learned from Bible verses. So, I mean, it's very much woven into
Yes.
the fabric of our daily lives. And so I think we then have a hard time
We're
when
highly
we
annoyed.
see
Yeah.
the break where
Yeah.
somebody is
Yeah.
not the same
Oh.
publicly as they are
Yeah,
privately.
I think it grates us.
Well,
And
yeah,
I think
because how do people not see that sometimes? You
It's-
just want to say, well, they're not even being real.
right. And I think
You
for
know?
us, and that's why it's we've talked about people turning to AI to turn them into these masterful writers. And we see it because it's our craft. It's something that we worked hard and we know and we fought for. And we went through the struggle and all of the things. So it's very similar when people try to pretend to be writers rather than expressing themselves. I mean, like using it as a tool is fantastic, but getting yourself and pretending that you're in the lane with all the creative people who've worked so hard and that's who we are.
Yeah, it's hard. It's
So
hard to see that. I
So
agree.
it's when people say, I don't think people understand that it minimizes. It's kind of a slap in the face to us, and it minimizes who we are and what we've done. So when people say, "Oh, they just speaking serious," I can do that. Like and I think that's great. If you think you can, go out and live your dream and do what you want, but don't think like, you know what I mean? Like that just tells me like, oh, they do it, I can do it too. That's like kind of a slap in the face.
For
anybody, for whatever you're doing out there.
especially because that would be considered disrespectful in other industries. And so
Oh.
that's what's different when it comes to doing something where you're just talking. People think, well, anybody can get on a mic, I mean, and that, but
And you know what? And it was, and I'm going to name drop him here. It was Mike Malero, who is well known in the Cedar Valley, does so much
former head of VGM.
head of VGM. And he had he said, the fact that you two go up there for 2 hours and just go, there's no notes. It is ad lib and you're telling these stories and there's no, you're not pausing. And he said, that's just masterful. And that was it was an amazing compliment coming from an accomplished business person and philanthropist and, all of the
Definitely.
things.
He's such
for somebody
huge advocate for us.
For somebody to recognize that and to say, you made it look easy, so maybe that that's just one of the things that just great.
Yeah. Thanks for letting us
Vent.
unload,
On the group
unleash.
chat.
Okay. So back to Taylor.
Okay.
So have you seen it's awful, but interesting on Instagram, I've seen these comparisons where they show Kelsey's ex-girlfriend and then they show Taylor and then they say basically like he went from that to that because the old girlfriend has more of like the Kardashian body and then Taylor is, quite thin. And so the point is like, I can't believe he went from that to that. And I was laughing because I, not that I think it's ever appropriate to shame somebody for their body type. But I was thinking to myself, I was kind of laughing, like it was the opposite when we were young. It was like the girl that was curvy, the
Right.
J-Lo would have been like, oh, she's fat. And then they would have said like the thinnest
The Kate
model
Moss.
possible. Yeah.
Kate
That
Moss.
she was the hottest.
That was the
So I
standard.
will say, as somebody who's never been, I mean, I definitely wasn't like overweight when I was younger, but I always
No.
had hips. And so, I mean, I like that people are more, that we embrace as the aesthetic. Yeah. And so here's what was funny too, that I was thinking about. I'll never forget, some of you Gen Xers will remember this, when Cindy Crawford, supermodel, who of course was made famous for various reasons, like the Pepsi commercial where the kid, spots her when she was kind of
Yes.
in the Daisy Duke aesthetic. So she infamously said, and I remember reading this and being like, she said something to the effect of, I don't know what I would do if my butt was that big, about J-Lo. And that was quoted.
Oh, I don't
in an
remember
article.
that. Wow.
And so I just remember always feeling like, why would you throw shade at somebody who, in the end, I mean, her body type became like the gold standard. And now we look back and we think that Cindy Crawford and some of those supermodels, they were too thin.
Oh, because that was the
that
90s,
weird?
the 80s and 90s models. They were just like the waifs. And that was, and then it was
Linda
kind of,
Evangelista.
well, think about that. That went into like the way we shopped. Abercrombie, you couldn't go in. I could never shop at Abercrombie when I was in high school because I always had hips and I had a backside and I I wasn't
Those
the waist.
jeans were like no hips.
Oh, and
they
that-
were straight down.
and they were
I couldn't wear those either.
And they were like really, really low.
Yeah.
So you have the button is coming around
so
your
you had to
widest
be
part.
built like a boy.
Yeah, the button was coming around like around your hip, and that's where it was coming on. Like, I mean, you couldn't. It was not. So that's one thing that
It's true.
we've come really far where we are embracing. I mean, my gosh, people are going to get BBLs. They're going to get Brazilian butt lifts because they want to have like a bigger. I think that's great. I never
It's just
had.
weird how the culture.
I never had that. Like I just have a wide.
Yeah, same.
I've
And
wide.
it's weird how the culture shifts because years ago, people were horrified if they had a big butt, and now they're putting like padded, Spanx on. So I mean, it's so weird.
I mean, who was it? I like big butts, and I cannot lie. I mean, remember the video that he had?
Oh my gosh, who?
What was his name?
Sir Mix-a-Lot.
Sir Mix-a-Lot.
So I love.
And he had
Sir
like
Mix-a-Lot
the
because-
giant butt that was on.
Yeah,
the-
yeah, especially
video.
because he's from Seattle, and one of my favorite throwbacks is My Posse's on Broadway,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I've been to Broadway many times in Seattle.
And you know what? I used to always think that was about New York
Yeah, right.
because you never heard any
Because you
rappers
don't-
singing about
right.
Seattle. I mean, that was the grunge. That
that's
was
so funny. Yeah,
No,
some
I-
classics.
there. Somebody, this really nice woman sent us an email talking about. She said that there was a new song by Taylor Swift, and she says, Amanda, it reminds me.
Oh,
you
yeah,
have
that
to
was
listen to it.
nice.
And what was it called? Like romantic. It was.
Yes, that. Well, also, I want to mention you did that really nice post. I thought very reflective and honest post about feeling that sometimes people have used Bible verses
Let's
as
talk
a
about
way
that.
to attack. And this woman, Sarah, she sent this long email and she thanked you so much for that. And what she said that I thought was really interesting. As a Christian, I've often felt pulled by both arms when it comes to politics and cultural conversations. No matter what I think or where I land, there always seems to be a Bible verse someone can use to prove me wrong. And
Yeah.
then she said, but tonight, your words, lead with love, shifted something in me. They felt grounding and freeing. This is very well written. A reminder that faith is not about winning arguments or proving points.
Yeah. I just got chills. That was so sweet that she wrote that email to me. That was really,
So
really
thank you,
kind.
Sarah.
Sarah, that was beautiful. So last night I posted on my professional page, my Amanda Goodman page, because I was really tired of people this week telling
Picking
me,
and choosing.
yeah, they pick and choose what they want to follow in the Bible. And then when they do that, they use the Bible and they use the Christianity as a weapon. And it takes so many people away from the church or their faith because they use it as a weapon and they're like, I'm perfect. Da, 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 da. And so I'm like, whoa, wait. Are we picking and choosing from the Bible? Because the Bible also says women should be quiet in church. The Bible also says that, we should eat shellfish. And as I was writing it, I was eating sushi, right? You know what I mean? Like I'm eating sushi as I'm writing it. Like the Bible also says, like no tattoo, like because all I know is that, Jesus was like, he was flipping tables over hypocrites, right? And he was sitting with people who didn't look like him. And he was sitting with the prostitutes and he was sitting
And
with the
tax
criminals
collectors.
and the tax, like he was sitting with everybody. And that's the Jesus that I know. Like, so when a woman says to me, she's, because I like Bad Bunny or I like the performance and because he's saying bad lyrics. And she's like, you're not a follower of Jesus. And she was attacking me. And I said, I think I am, because Jesus instructed me to love thy neighbor. And, you and I joke, like, I cannot tell you, oh, that was in Matthew, but I know the Bible. I don't know the numbers, right? Because in Catholic school, we had religion class. And not only did we have religion class for every single day, it was like prayer was weaved in every moment of the day, because that's how life is. Life is not like reserving it just for 30 minutes for a class a day. It was woven into our daily life. So when people try to come at me and use the Bible as a weapon, I'm thinking, just because I say the F word doesn't mean I don't know. I'm a Catholic,
But
which means I'm a
especially
Christian.
because there's always a counterpoint where you could, turn the tables, so to speak. So a great example is we know this person who was saying that somebody who didn't agree with her political persuasion, that she needed to pray and have until she understands the right way. And in this case, the right way, she was literally meaning like right leaning political persuasion. So you are basically saying like the Bible is serving up a particular political party, which
No.
I mean,
No.
the one thing that I love about our pastor is he's always said, like, it doesn't matter who's in the White House, like, we're answering to the man upstairs, right? So when you let politics become the driver, or I'll put it to you this way, for some people, politics has become their religion.
Oh,
And that's
Yeah,
a shame,
that's great.
right?
That's
Because
fantastic what
politics
you
is
said.
not
No.
supposed to be something you worship. Okay, in my opinion. So we know somebody who said to this woman that had very strong political feelings and shared them on Facebook, I'm going to pray that that come to the light or understand the right way. And this person who posted this happens to be somebody who's remarried and was divorced. And then I thought, oh, okay, so how would you like it if she went on your page and said, FYI, you should be excommunicated from your church because you got a divorce, right? I mean, we can always do that. The tit for tat never ends. That's why, like she said, like, don't point fingers when you have a plank in your eye, as the Bible specifically explains. I mean, it talks about that. Like, you're out here telling people what they're doing wrong and you're blinded by the plank in your eye, which means you too are not free of sin. And so for me, I definitely feel like, and I need to say this, that there are people right now watching that aren't a part of a church or felt shunned because they got a divorce or because they went through something that somebody
else is telling them. Yes.
Somebody told them that made them less than, and you then have broken or fractured your relationship with Christ as a result. And I'm here to tell you, like, we are all part of his everlasting, kingdom, in that if you turn to him, if you seek God, like, he will find you. So don't ever feel like you are that, the one cast out from the 99, because the shepherd found that sheep, and God will find you.
It's so funny that you say that, because Aria received her sacrament of reconciliation on Wednesday evening, and the Catholic priest, Father Tom, was talking about sheep. And he was saying, how are sheep like people? And they were like, they smell, like, the little kids are giving answers. And he's like, no, sheep like to hang out together. He's like, but sometimes one likes to go off. And he was like, we have to worry about that one.
That's right.
And I get chills, like, thinking about that. And
he left the 99.
He left the 99
to the one. So
just
never
for the
feel
one.
like you're an outlier.
So I just don't like anybody using, don't use the Bible as a weapon that was not. And it reminded me, like, my dad had, he was reading the things on the Facebook, and he was like, I want someone to say that you're not biblical, because we know who you are. And like I told you one time, I was in a disagreement with somebody, and they told me that I'm not like anybody in the Bible, and this person was like somebody up here in the Bible. And my dad goes, yeah, you are. He was like, you're made in God's likeness, but you're Peter. He made you like Peter. And I said, I'm like, because Peter was so flawed. He was so flawed. But what did Peter do? They came for Jesus, and Peter, like, took the sword out and cut off, the guard's ear.
But we're going to skip over the part where Peter denied him 3 times.
But
when the crow, what was it?
Where the cock crows 3 times. Deny me. And Peter said no. But that's been me too. And
and that's right. But that's not something that anyone should be ashamed to admit, because we all have,
for sure,
doubts. And so that's part of you growing your faith, as you sort through, what you don't and do understand.
But it's funny, because Nico was actually the one who said, Mom, he was like, you don't want to be Peter because he, like, denied Jesus. And I said, no, but I am wise enough to know that I am in every aspect, because I haven't been perfect. And I have denied, or I haven't done the right thing, or I haven't, you know what I mean? So this is my, like, message. There is nothing any naysayer out there can say about me that I don't already say about myself, or that I don't already recognize about myself. I don't sit here and act like I am holier than thou. And so those are the people that I have no time for. When you act like you are above because you sit in the front pew of a church, or because you paid for that pew at church.
Oh, right. Exactly.
So you're not better than me.
That's when our human nature crosses into our faith-based expression. And that's dangerous.
That is dangerous. There's no one's, first of all, you cannot buy your way to heaven. You cannot, you will not. It's not going to happen. I know that.
In fact, if we want to be biblical, the Bible specifically says that those who are less, or paupers, so to speak, will enter the kingdom of heaven before those who are deemed wealthy. I mean, there are verses. So you're going to be in line too, but you may be in the back, and that person that you thought you were better than is going to, cut and jump ahead.
Wouldn't that be fun? Like the
so all of a
bus in
sudden you're
heaven?
like, wait a minute, this
What's up, boo?
hierarchy. Wait, I belonged to a country club. I don't get.
You're in the front of the bus. You turn around. You're like, who's going to check me, boo? Well, we are almost out of time. It is 7:59. Go out and enjoy the beautiful weather this weekend. I'm going to end with the 4-letter word of love, since it is Valentine's Day, but that is not about romantic love. Go show love to somebody who needs it. Your neighbor, the person who's standing there with the sign saying that they need a little bit of money. Just show some love this weekend.
That's so true. Well said. And this verse, it's a popular one. If we did like a top 10 verses,
Definitely.
many people would put this in their top 10. It's from the book of Philippians, chapter 4, verse 13. And depending on which Bible version you read, this one is from NIV. I can do all this through him who gives me strength. But those of you who are more traditional and would know the King James version is, I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. And so for me, this never gets old. This applies in every phase of your life, because you will have so many moments where human nature will tell you that you can't get through one more day of whatever you're dealing with. But then you can rest in this Philippians verse that it's Christ who will give you the strength to endure whatever trials and tribulations come your way. And that is such a comfort for those of us who are, down and out on our luck per se.
Yeah, that is one. Well, get outside, turn on Little Red Corvette today. Enjoy the nice weather. Thanks so much for joining us.
And happy Valentine's Day. We'll see you Monday. Have a great weekend.
The group chat is brought to you by the empowering staff at Middle River Cabinetry and Splendore Medical Spa.
Feels so